All right, guys, now we are going to get into one of my favorite sounds in drum and bass. That's the heavy Reese bass. So we're going to start out, and it's going to sound like this. This is our pattern. And if you guys are curious, we got E3 and then E5, and we have a little bit of a pitch bend going on. We'll just go, yeah, right there, just like that. And the pitch bend is very important. So let's go into Anna 2 here. And we are going to bring down the first oscillator -3, second one also -3, and give it one voice. So now it's just going to sound like this, which is not very Reese-y. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit re-trigger on both of these, and this is going to ensure that it's triggered at the same point in the waveform, because if not, it'll pick random spots. So if you're going to be adding detune, like a bunch of detune, it's going to sound really lasery if you have re-trigger on. But we are not going to be detuning it with our detune. We're going to be literally detuning this with the fine tune. So on the first one, I'm going to bring this down. I don't know. We'll try it at 18, and I'm going to bring this one up plus 18. Now listen. Now we're starting to get somewhere. So let's group this. We're going to create a second chain here, and we're going to call this one sub. You don't have to do this in one group. You can have a separate sub channel, which is typically what I do, but we'll do this all contained in one patch or one group, or instrument rack rather. We're going to initialize this, sine wave, do the same re-trigger, and then -3. Give that a little juice there. Oh, one thing we have to adjust here is bring the pitch bend up to 12 on both of these. To 12. We're going to hit mono on both of those as well. And you can tell it's a Reese bass, but it's not really that thick or intense. So let's go into our audio effects. I'm going to be using all stock stuff today. The first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to add a little bit of EQing here. A lot of people will instantly go for the automatic low cut here to get rid of the unwanted frequencies down here. But that has mixed results. So try testing it before you just automatically do that without thinking. The main thing that you want to do is have a notch filter here. This is going to come into play a little bit later. So let's also add a saturator here. Saturator is just adding some distortion. A little bit of soft clip. And this one, all the effects are only on our Reese channel here. So keep that in mind. The next thing we'll add, let's add some OTT, because who doesn't love a little OTT, right? Gain that back up. Bring that dry wet down a little bit. So we're starting to get there, right? Let's add in some amp. A little bit of amp. I like the texture of that, so let's keep that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a vocoder. Now, typically, you don't think of a vocoder as something that would be good on a Reese bass, but let me show you what it does. It really helps rein it in a little bit, because it's sort of messy. Like right now, it sort of sounds a little bit. yeah, I mean, it's distorted, and that's what we want, but it sounds almost a little bit out of control. So when we add a vocoder, all of those little pitch fluctuations, like you can hear that how it sort of flutters up there at the top. So when we add in the vocoder here, we're going to bring up the bottom part of the range to about 30. And I'm going to bring the top of the range all the way up. And we'll adjust the depth to taste. Now we're starting to really get somewhere. So we can sort of swap these all over the place. We can adjust the order of them and create a different sound every time. So I'll show you guys how to do that in a second. Here, we're going to add a little bit of saturation here at the end. I'm going to actually bring down the output here. And these are these little levels here it's sort of like an EQ. I'm going to roll off some of these ultra highs as well. Give this a little bit more control. So we can rearrange this. We'll put the OTT in front of the amp, or maybe we'll put the filter after, before the OTT. Put the amp after the filter. You hear it kind of gives it a different texture every time. So another thing, I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about this fine tune real quick. So the fine tune separation, the further we go, the more movement in the bass we get. So I'm going to bring these down even further, and you'll hear that when it goes up to that high note, it's going to be going a lot faster than before. And you want these to be relatively close, but it doesn't have to be exact. So I bumped it up. It's like almost twice as much now. We'll do that on both. Now you'll hear it. It's almost a little bit too much. Let's bring it back down a little bit more. You want to be able to hear that bass some. You can also add noise too if you want a little bit of texture in here. We can add a little bit of white noise. I want to turn this down some. So the last thing we could do here, we can add a little bit of ensemble. I'm going to put this before the saturator. This one is important. It's got to be before going into our distortion units, our saturator, and our amp. That's the important part. But you can hear this vocoder really does a lot for us. And that's our Reese bass. pretty dope. We'll see you in the next video.